Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 88 of the Shauna Stitches Podcast. I'm Shauna, and this is my crafty podcast where I talk about all the things that I've been working on lately. Today is April 14th, 2024. It's Sunday, and gosh, is it about? Yep, it's about 10 a.m., so pretty early, at least for me. And I'm coming to you from the Oregon coast, my home. This is my craft room. I know it looks a little different today. I just thought maybe a less busy background would be a better option. And I am very limited on options in this room since we turned it from my totally just my craft room to craft/guest room. And I'll be honest, it is a disaster in here, especially because I move stuff to be able to sit right here. So anyway, if you have thoughts on this background versus my old background, let me know because I would be curious to know what you think. There are links down below to where you can find me. That's on Ravelry and Instagram as Shauna Stitches. And there are also links to all the projects that I'll talk about. At least that's my goal. If I miss anything, please let me know. Or if you still have questions, feel free to ask. Your comments and questions are always welcome. So thank you for all the past ones and all the future ones to come. Let's see here. I do have a few things to talk about. It's been like 2 weeks since the last podcast, and my finished object is yarn that I didn't even have in my possession the last time that I recorded. How crazy is that? So this right here is a hat, if you couldn't tell. This is the classic ribbed hat by Purl Soho. If you watched recently, you saw I made the two baby or small child size hats in the same pattern. But this one, I did a little different. The pattern is actually written to be knit from the bottom up, which is really standard in most hats. But I changed this to be top down. So if you are familiar with the muscle burrow hat, it uses, I believe, what's called a pinhole cast on. Honestly, I don't even look at that anymore just because I know how to do it. And I use a crochet hook, a magic circle, I believe it's called, and a crochet hook. Then I transfer that onto knitting needles and it makes for a pretty neat little top. I did kind of screw up on the first round, but I figured no one's really going to look at the top of my head, so it's okay. But essentially, I was knitting stitches when I should have been purling, but it all worked out. And I think the increases look pretty good. I know I could have done make one lefts or make one rights, but honestly, I just did knit front and back, and I'm fine with it. I couldn't remember from those other hats I made to this one if the top looked similar, and it does. The main difference is that on mine, you see essentially where the second stitch has been made out of the other one. So it makes a small little hole, but like I said, when it's on your head or even, back here at a distance, you don't even see it. So um, I'm torn. Do I show you the whole hat first or do I try it on first? I'm going to try it on just because it's folded, I think, how I need it to be. But you're going to get a kick out of this. There you go. So yeah, I think it fits really, really good. I made the largest size, which is 132 stitches. And I really like having a fold over my ears because I get really bad earaches in the cold wind. And it really helps. So there's what it looks like. And now I will show you what the whole hat looks like and maybe some other ways to wear it because this thing's crazy. I haven't mentioned yet where this yarn came from. This is Blue Fiber Company, which surprisingly, oh, my hair's a mess. It's out of Portland, Oregon. But this yarn came to me from Denver, Colorado. And that's because I got this from Karen, a Bobblehead Knits. Thank you, Karen. She sent this to me as a prize. She was doing a little giveaway. And I won. So the yarn is so nice. It's a DK Cashmerino yarn. Cashmerino. Look at this. So I really just wanted to use all 5 mini skeins in one project. The only drawback to this is that I wanted to be able to see them all, and I can't. So that's kind of a bummer. But obviously, this was the first color here. Then as I had 5 grams left of that, I started helical knitting in the second color. Once I was done with the first color, then it just was all the second color. 5 grams left of that, I started helical knitting in the third color. And then there's just a solid third color, helical knitting in the fourth color, helical knitting in the fifth, and then the fifth color. So I really like how that turned out. So I said I was going to show you different ways to wear this. I haven't actually tried this on like this. This is going to be ridiculous. Let's see. I'm not one for slouchy hats at all. Let's see, how slouchy is that? Is that ridiculous? I don't know. I feel like some people wear hats like that. If that's you, no shade, but it's just not for me. But I do like it. Then I can at least see all the colors. But seriously, what's this for? What do you do with this right here? I don't know. That wasn't really a serious thought on how to wear it, by the way. So because I kind of settled on the way I was wearing it, which I'll explain in just a minute, I wove my ends in all to the inside. That's one thing when you have a hat, say if you want to fold it up like this, just with one fold, you then have to figure out where that line's going to be so that you can weave your ends in on technically the right side, because the wrong side is what's showing. So like, obviously that shows. But yes, you could just wear it with one big fold. That's not too bad. And actually, if a few yarn tails stick out, I mean, probably no one's going to notice. I actually like that more than I thought I liked it last night when I was trying it on. But the other way I thought that I could wear this is to kind of like the muscle burrow, tuck it inside. So obviously you don't have a second top to line up. Let's see, how big do we want this? But then yes, with it just folded in on itself like that, then it just looks like a beanie, but you still have that double thickness over your ears, and I don't have to deal with any yarn tails. But the way I was wearing it was actually, would it be called a double fold or a triple fold? I think it's a double fold, except that it's 3 layers over the ears. So I pull this up almost all the way to the top, and then I fold this back down. And that's how I was wearing it, which I think is probably how I would normally wear it. So yeah, just like that. Yeah, I love it. Obviously, we're getting into warmer weather, so I probably won't wear it anytime soon. But I used all 100 grams, so I added 100 grams in and I took 100 grams out, and yay! I do want to show you a little piece of this yarn because it is the most interesting construction. There's what it looks like, and it just looks like normal yarn, right? Well, check this out. We're going to geek out on yarn construction here real quick. Do you see that those are essentially 3 plies? But if you'll notice, each of the 3 plies is a 2 ply. So it's technically a 6 ply yarn. I believe this would still be considered a cable plied yarn, even though usually a cable ply kind of has like these bumps on it. I don't know, it's just very interesting. So you essentially have these 3 2 plies that make up a 3 ply, but a 6 ply. It's very confusing. Anyway, does that make sense? It's a nice yarn. You would never think, looking at it like this, that there are all those plies in there, would you? Just a little interesting tidbit. I've never seen another yarn like this. However, I don't really knit with DK weight yarn very often at all, so it's interesting. All right, let's take this off. My hair is going to be a mess, and I guess it is what it is. So that's the only finished object that I have, at least a knitting finished object. I do have a half object to show you, and I'm going to try and figure out how to do this very sneakily. Is that a word, sneakily? You can see part of it there. I finished my husband's size of my sock pattern design. Still not really showing the design yet, but I do want to mention this heel. So I did the math and the numbers to figure out a toe up slip stitch heel flap, and I'm really happy with it. So like I said, this is my husband's size, and he's not the best about giving me feedback. I had him try it on. It looks like it fits well to me. Obviously, he hasn't worn it out in his shoe or anything, but he doesn't really provide a lot of feedback, as in like, does it feel tight somewhere? Is it too loose? Anything like that. But just looking at it, I think it looks really great. I haven't made any more progress on my size, and that's going to be the true test as whether or not my math works out, because it worked out great for this as far as I can tell. So I'm going to try mine, make sure the math works out good, and then I will know how it fits on my foot, whether or not it needs any tweaking. If it doesn't need tweaking, then I'll just have to finish the second socks, and they're going to be very close. I have got the pattern written up. The only thing I would have to change is if any of that needs changing. So very excited, getting closer. It's kind of a back burner project, but kind of also like I really just want it done. It's been a thought in my mind for a very long time, so it'll just be so exciting to finally see them finished and get it out in the world. That'll be even more exciting. I do have one other work in progress that I've been working on, and that is my April Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. This is Desert Vista Dyeworks yarn in the color Spring Rainbow, which is just knitting up so pretty. Really enjoying the yarn. It's very bright and springy, as it should be. So I'm still on the first sock. I have finished 17 repeats on the foot, and I have to do about 24 repeats. So what's that, about 7 more to go, getting close. And I should have prioritized these over this hat, but you know, things happen. I'm still trying to figure out too what old project I might work on this month, and I have some ideas. I think I might go back to the hand knit socks 2 ways that are the hand spun. Of course they're hand knit. The hand spun socks 2 ways, the ones that I am doing like the pink and green, if that jogs your memory. I didn't bring them in here, but I don't know if I'll get them finished. Those are the ones I'm having knit continental, and even though they're vanilla, they are just not quite vanilla for me. I do love to read while I'm knitting, and I so far haven't been able to do that. Maybe I need to push myself a little bit more and keep trying. But yes, if you remember last episode, I talked about my wonderful little yarn holder thing here with a magnet that holds my yarn. It is working out so good. I absolutely love the fact that I never have to pull the yarn loose. It works so great. So, because I love it so much, I got one for you guys. So we're going to do a giveaway. This is still in the packaging straight from Amazon. The other side has my address, so I won't show you that one. But I want to send one of these to one of you, whoever thinks that you might like that, use that, and hadn't made the purchase yet themselves. Go ahead and let's see, what word can we use? Magnet. We're going to use the word magnet because this attaches by a magnet. And leave me a comment down below. Like I said, include the word magnet, and the next podcast I will draw a winner. Unfortunately, I am going to have to say United States only, because if you haven't noticed, shipping rates are ridiculous lately, and probably to send that even in the United States is probably going to cost me more than it costs to buy that. I should have, in retrospect, just sent it straight from Amazon to whoever, was going to win it, but I didn't. So it is what it is. I will send it happily to one of you. Okay, that is all of the knitting that I have to show, but I am not done yet. I have some other finished objects to show you. That is spinning finished objects. Look at these cute little things. So, I think I showed you last time. I have been spinning yarn on my support spindles, which I will show you in a minute. And Andrea Mowry is doing 100 days of long draw. So I was literally just learning long draw right before that 100-day challenge came out. And there's the first one. Look how balanced that is. That is so awesome. I'll be honest, I don't really do anything to balance it. It just, like, before I wash it, after it's plied, you know, it'll have a little bit of twist still in it. And then after you wash it, it's like magic because it's just perfect. These are the woolly cupcakes. I think I showed you last time. I know I definitely talked about them. So they're all kind of mystery content and they all seem to differ. This one I know though had silk in it. I don't like spinning silk, but let me just tell you how soft and squishy this is. And it also has a good amount of elasticity. If you can see that, it's elastic. It's kind of stretching. So the stats on this, which I write on these are waterproof kind of wristbands like you'd get at a theme park. Has a little sticky spot there. And it's a nice way to keep track of your yardage. So I have this marked as a 2-ply fractal that was spun on my support spindle, long draw from the fold. The finished skein is 12.3 grams, 99.3 yards, which is a grist of 3,661.9 yards per pound. That means if I spun a pound of this fiber exactly like this, I would get over 3,000, over 3,500 yards of yarn, which is crazy. As far as what weight it is, technically, I think it's a lace weight. Well, based on the yardage, it is for sure a lace weight, but because it is woolen spun, it does plump up a lot, and I've always heard that you get more yardage from a woolen spun. It's like, if you look at this little piece here, it is super tiny, but then the piece right next to it, it's probably close to a fingering weight. Let's see, do I have, yes, of course I have fingering weight here. So if you can see, maybe this is harder than it looks. Let's see, how do we want to do this? Oh my gosh, okay. These two are the commercial fingering weight. I'm struggling, you guys. And the ones next to it are what I spun. Come on. And honestly, I know it's hard to tell, but I think they look pretty darn close if I'm being honest. So anyway, regardless, my plan is to knit this up as a fingering weight and we'll hope for the best. And the other one, this little guy, spun exactly the same way. It's a 2-ply fractal on my support spindle. Again, look how nice and balanced that is. I don't know, that just makes me so excited. So this one, my stats are a little different. Was I trying to spin thicker? I don't remember. I don't think so, but this one doesn't have silk in it, and that makes a difference. So this ended up being 13.3 grams, 79.6 yards, with a grist of 2,714.7 yards per pound. So again, if I spun a pound of this fiber exactly like this, I'd have approximately 2,700 yards. That is a lot. So that is still technically a lace weight, but if you look at this one up close, oh, come on. It's all kind of twisted up. It definitely is a bit thicker. It's still really soft and squishy and kind of elastic, maybe not as much as the other one, but it's so soft. So if you see the two side by side, maybe you can tell the lighter blue is just a little bit thinner, but still I plan on knitting them both at the same gauge, fingering weight. And yeah, those are really fun. So I am still really enjoying that. I'm on the 100-day challenge, both for knitting and spinning. So that's why you don't see as much knitting on this one, because I tend to knit in the morning before I go to work, and then I will spin in the evening after I get home. So spinning, I don't get nearly as much time. I don't remember if I showed you this. Actually, I wouldn't have, because I believe this spindle came in after definitely came in after I podcast last. So I have started and finished this little tiny bit of singles. Again, this is a woolly cupcake. If I remember right, it was about 7 grams. So it was tiny, especially compared to the other two. And then I have started this one just last night. All you can see is blue. And I didn't bring in the fiber that I'm actually spinning, but it has blue, white, purple, lots of blue. So kind of similar to the other ones, but definitely different. Again, it's just a woolly cupcake. And I think this one weighed 15 grams. So it'll be the biggest one that I've spun so far on a spindle. And I will probably just save these pink purple singles until this one's done. That way I ply 2 in one day. It's just kind of easier that way to get my wheel all set up. Who knows? Maybe I'll do more than 2. These are both Cravelli, Georgia spindles. They are on Instagram and Etsy, and they also have their own website. And I'm really enjoying their spindles. I thought this one, I used this one first. I let Glenn pick because I got 3 new ones. And I thought this one was a bit light. And I liked the way this one felt. But now that I'm spinning on this one, it feels a bit heavy. So I have kind of learned, I think, that whatever spindle it is that I'm using and I've gotten used to, it is my current favorite. And then when I switch, it kind of like throws me for a loop. The only thing I forgot to say about this blue fiber, it also has silk. I just don't love spinning silk. It turns out beautiful in the end, but spinning it is not my favorite. What else? I think that's it, at least for the crafty part. As far as life stuff goes, work has been really busy. I have just been feeling very drained and trying to take care of myself a little bit better. And by that, I mean prioritize some rest, but not necessarily just sleep all day, if that makes sense. I got this ring, just a little silver ring. And let's see, try to show you this. Do you see those little 3 bumps on the inside? This is a smart ring, and it's called the Aura ring, O-U-R-A. And what I really like about this, especially compared to the Apple Watch, so like all the smart gadgets, this one will kind of track your activity, but mostly it is really good at tracking your recovery, your rest, and like your readiness. It also tracks stress. Which I've only had it for a week here now. It can also tell you like when you're getting sick, which is interesting. But I've been trying to use the number that it gives me. I think it's called the readiness score. It's on my phone, which I'm recording on, so I can't really look, but it's something like the readiness score. And it essentially tells you how your body has recovered from recent activities, and you get a new score every morning. So it's kind of based on your sleep and what you did the day before. And I'm trying to listen to that better. So in the past, when I was really doing a lot on the Peloton, was my body necessarily ready for that next workout? Maybe not. And I might have been going too hard. So with this, it tells me like, hey, you should take it a little bit easier today. But you still have like an activity calories burned kind of goal, but maybe do that in a more gentle way instead of going hardcore. So anyway, it's just one more thing that I'm trying to incorporate and listen to when I can to hopefully feel a little bit better. I've also reached out to an endocrinologist and my own doctor and all the fun things. But yes, as I mentioned, work has been extremely stressful lately. I won't go into much detail at all because I can't and I don't want to. But I did get to see my first necropsy If that is not a term you're familiar with, I wouldn't be surprised, but a necropsy is an autopsy of an animal. So that's all the details I'll give on that. I have seen an autopsy of a person before, and if you can look at it from a very scientific aspect, it is fascinating. I'm thankful I don't actually have to do it. I don't want to touch anything, but if I just have to look and learn, I don't mind so much. Same thing with the necropsy. It is fascinating, but also gross. So anyway, again, like I said, glad I don't have to touch it. But I've had some other big cases going on, and just, yeah, life just, it's a lot. So in my personal life, I'm really just trying to dial things back, really make any commitments to go anywhere or do anything, which sounds boring probably, but I need to balance things as much as I can. The other exciting thing about work, though, is I got a standing desk and a walking pad. So now I'm able to walk while I type away, and it feels nice to not just sit for 8+ hours a day. It really does. It's kind of painful a little bit just because I'm not used to it, but I don't think in a bad way. What else? Oh, I'm still reading Outlander 9, which is Go and Tell the Bees That I Am Gone. And I am about 400 pages in, which I think is roughly 42-ish%. So making progress. And that's all I can think of. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you, all of your comments, likes, subscriptions, and don't forget to enter the giveaway. Use the word magnet to see if you win the yarn holder. All right. Hopefully that's it, and I didn't forget anything major. I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.